One of my main subjects that I studied at university in the early 90s was the isiZulu language. Um, it wasn't my plan initially to continue with isiZulu, but when I started out, the uh, the way in which the Amazulu people drew me into their world to me was just absolutely overwhelming, and it was so wonderful to learn more about the history of the Amazulu people, the language, and so much more. So I continued with isiZulu until I had an honors degree, and so I really like helping people in our country and whoever who is interested in learning to speak isiZulu to help them um, with this language. Um, but sometimes people come to me and they say, yeah, this system, the way that the isiZulu language fits together is so complicated. Sometimes people would say, I can't believe it. You look at a little child of 5 or 6 years old, a Zulu young boy, and he speaks isiZulu perfectly. And I have to sit down on a chair behind a table and memorize all these umo aba umo imi ile ama isi izi in izin ulo ubu ugu umuntu abantu umfula imifulu ibhuku amabhuku isitsha izitsha inja izinja and so forth, all the different classes and nouns. So people say, oh, it's so complicated, and you have these people, they just speak it freely. So here is what I would like to say now. It is indeed true that if you look at the system, what we call uhlelo lwesiZulu, the way that it has been arranged, the way that it fits together, ibizo, isenzo, umenzi, umenziwa, and the way that it, the whole inside structure of the isiZulu, the way that it fits together. Listen, if you are not an isiZulu speaker, especially if you don't speak isiNtu, if you come from the outside, it's not an easy system to understand. It's not an easy system to grasp. Now, I thought about this very fact a couple of years ago. And I thought, but if this system fits together so beautifully, even more beautiful than a 737 Boeing, the engine of this aeroplane that can fly people into the air, why do we think that it is impossible to start describing all of reality using the isiZulu language? I'm talking about the finest detail of science in the laboratories. There's somebody that I know that has a website working on terminology, a person with a master's degree in astronomy. I'm talking about the stars and comets and the moons of the different constellations in the sky, as we call in isiZulu, emkhathini, working on terminology for the stars. What about terminology for law? In the House of Law, I'm talking about a specialized. I remember when I started out at writing for the newspaper Bayede. I think it was in, what was it, 2014, around about the 14, 15, I started writing for that newspaper Bayede. And I remember the owner of the newspaper had a dictionary with him with all the legal terms for the isiZulu language. So here's my question. Why do we think it's not possible for the isiZulu language to describe all of reality, history, philosophy, all these different facets? If you think about the structure of this language, the way that it fits together, I am convinced that it is possible for the isiZulu language. The reason I focus on isiZulu is that was my major. That's what I focused on. Okay, but it's also true for the Sepedi language, for Tshivenda, Xitsonga, Sesotho, Setswana. You might call me biased because this is what I focused on in my studies. Okay, so my focus is especially on isiZulu. And if you are listening to me, young lady, young man, if only I can get you to start dreaming in your heart and think, look at all these other world languages with everything that they have acquired. The immense power of many of these languages on the earth. What about isiZulu? It is possible to start building out this language in every facet of reality, all the different subjects, so that the language can reach up to a university level in all the subjects. Yes, but it won't help me because the world is English. Hey, my mother tongue is Afrikaans. I was able to study everything in Afrikaans, and I can say what I want to say, and I can go where I want to go. I can also speak English. But why would we not empower the vernacular languages of our country? Why not?